Shut the fuck up, love.
Oh, that's too funny.
All right, everybody, let's try this again. Of course, your usual dumbass over here doesn't like to hit the go live button and we'll chat into a microphone for 5 minutes, but here we are. Me and Mickey already had a good one going too. So
We've already had a discussion, guys.
I know.
Sorry.
The quick 5-minute lowdown. Our phones are teases. It likes to tell us that it's going to be hot outside in Arizona. And they also like to kind of trick us, making us think rain is coming. But I did just hear some thunder. So if by some chance we do actually get weather, sometimes it can get crazy. If it all shuts down, just know that, yeah, we probably lost power.
Yeah.
But we were getting into that age-old question. I'm Centurion. This is Mickey. And I was asking, what have you been playing? And then, of course, you went into talking about the beta that we're going to discuss here. But is that it? Because I've been hearing you've been playing some X-Defiant and also decided to play a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, X-Defiant, it's not bad. It gives me a little, just kind of takes the edge off for my PvP. But, it's not perfect, but it's decent. But I tried Rainbow Six again.
And you've been
By the way, we played
X-Defiant
Rainbow Six when it first came out. We played it a lot.
Oh, dude, we played the shit out of that game.
Yes, we did. But going back to it, it's like walking through mud.
What, you don't remember Lord Chonka?
So slow.
Dude,
I didn't remember it.
That tanky just doof, doof, doof. Like, is SEAL Team 6 coming down the hallway, or is it RoboCop?
And there's still a ton of tryhards because they were coming outside and shooting us, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't feel like I don't feel like popping a vein in my forehead. So
what up?
So I stopped playing it.
What up, by the way, Blue? Thank you for joining us. So yeah,
what's up, Blue?
He says he's over here. Mickey over here says I'm playing X-Defiant. It's giving me a good little competitive scratch. Dude, we've been sitting there in like pure silence playing games, and all of a sudden you'll just hear Mickey just drop an F-bomb out of nowhere, and it's just like, yeah, there's that multiplayer rage.
It's true. It's true. That's why we stopped playing.
Dude,
because
oh god, I was already making jokes to Mickey saying I would probably have to go get permission from my wife, and it'd have to be like, babe, I was wanting to know, and I don't want you to feel obligated, but it's just a question. But is it okay if I download Rainbow Six Siege? I've had my wife actually tell me, like, I hate when you play that game because you get aggressive. Oh my god.
Seriously, if you want to stretch your ass out on a PvP game, go play Rainbow Six Siege.
Dude, Blue over here, college.
We'll do it.
Blue over here, hyping college football. I don't get into those games, but I know Blue loves the hell out of them. I think is it college football on the radar for you too?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, dude. The other night, like after you left, me and Blue, I was still playing the beta. Blue was playing college football. And like we were just chatting, all of a sudden he's like, "Mother effer!" I'm like, "Oh my god, freaking!"
Those games, they can push off too.
I think this is why
anything
my wife
competitive,
had this like intervention with me on like competitive multiplayer.
It's seriously anything competitive, like you said, competitive multiplayer. It brings out the worst. That's for sure.
Oh man, I know nobody gets into competitive multiplayer just like all monotone, like, oh, you just shot me down. That's okay. Oh, golly gee willikers, I'm just gonna try again.
We gave it one try. Let's try. Yeah, let's do it again.
Like Rocky Maivia when The Rock first hit the scene as Rocky Maivia, and he had that chipper attitude, like, oh shucks, we'll just have to go get it again.
I just want to thank the fans and
thank the fans, and just want everybody to know that I am focused and dedicated into getting the job done
Uh-huh.
next time. But all right. So let's kind of throw a little bit of a softball little conversation. Something that we were actually talking about with the other night. Shout out to 108 Dragons, Mr. Lemon, for joining us the other night. We had a really great conversation in Xbox Party Chat. And we were talking about, a particular game that me and Mickey were playing at the time. And that was Star Wars Battlefront 2. And so let's just kind of like start off with a softball conversation, because like one thing I really don't like about the gaming ecosystem is people can be really harsh really quickly. And I come from a world where at least I believe second chances can be given, redemption can be earned. And I know with Battlefront 2, with all that pay to win crap and all the other stuff that went on when that game first launched, I really give DICE, I give DICE the credit that they had at least the dedication to want to get that game to where it is today, where I would literally recommend Battlefront 2 to anybody that's looking for a multiplayer game, at least for something PvE, at least on the co-op portion of it, because me and Mickey play that heavily.
That's true. That's true.
But the reason why, no, we're not here to completely just sit here and try to sell Battlefront 2 for you. It's more like the idea of, let's kind of get a discussion going. I'm pretty sure with only a couple people in the chat, we're probably not going to have the world's largest conversation. And that's why me and Mickey will just kind of softball it from here. But, let's discuss games that honestly deserve a second chance. And for anybody listening to the show after the fact on the replay machine, dude, go down in the comments section and tell me a game that you really feel deserves a second chance. For me, I put like a small little list together of stuff that me and Mickey have played over the years, like Elder Scrolls Online. That game got to a really rocky start. And once they did the one Tamriel overhaul of the game, we won't even call it an expansion, totally changed the game. Same with Fallout 76. That game had horrible issues when it came out. Now it's like definitely a one-of-a-kind experience, especially for those that really like the Fallout atmosphere of the Fallout games. But like Mickey, is there any games that come to mind on the top of your head, like stuff that that kind of like you love playing and didn't really get a fair chance when it first came out?
So I would say, which I haven't played it in a while, but it's an awesome game now, is Cyberpunk 2077. Because that obviously had a bumpy road in the beginning, but they've done a really good job at turning it around and the additions and stuff, and especially with the DLC that they give you, and they've turned it around. It's a lot funner. They've done a really good job with that. They basically kind of like with Fallout 76, where it came out bumpy, but they've really done, the companies have really done a good job to set them straight. I will say another game I wish that had the second chance would be Anthem.
Oh, dude.
I wish.
You're pulling on my heartstrings there.
I still haven't played it in a long time, but I really do really like that game. I really enjoyed it. I wish that they would have just kept going and putting the effort into it. It does hurt that they didn't, and that they didn't go to, Anthem 2.0 like they were going to. But, it's just, that's a game that I wish they would have put their foot forward and stepped out on it and improved on it. Because that was a game that I really, really enjoyed. And unfortunately, I don't even I mean, personally, Phil, I don't think they gave us enough time really to really, really enjoy it. I don't think it was, I can't remember how long it had been out when things really started falling apart. But to me, I don't feel like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like we really got enough time to really soak it in and get into it as much as, or at least as much as I wanted to. But that one is one that really, I really wish they would have put some more energy into. Those two games are kind of two of my big ones. You already said like Fallout and ESO, because those are two games that we have played tons. So those 4 games kind of are like my big ones. So yeah.
What's up, Faded Blaze? Hello to you, good sir, and what's up to the other people watching but not chatting? For anybody that feels compelled, be sure to put it in the chat. We're discussing games that deserve a little bit of a second chance. Mickey's over here pulling on my heartstrings about Anthem, and you're right. Anthem got a real shitty deal, at least with how EA, with BioWare and a studio that wasn't accustomed to creating a game like that, and then obviously the developmental woes that went into that game. And like, you're right, like it was a very short-lived game because the game wasn't very long to begin with. Like I mean, unless you went out of your way and just really just kind of like, you could grind that game out very quickly if necessary. And that's where, yeah, I could really see Anthem would be definitely a good one that you wish that it kind of like, but I guess it would, I guess the second, like you're over here, like, cause like if we want to talk about games that really we wish had a second chance, we could even throw, it's funny enough because it was caught up in the same debacle, but, Mass Effect Andromeda. But that was because that game, like people were trashing that game hardcore.
I remember you talking about that too.
Yeah, and like people were like, "Oh my god, the facial animations and like they don't act natural." And there was actually Horizon Zero Dawn came out about the same time, and they did the same shit. Yeah, not from a studio owned by EA. Yeah, of course, dude. Anthem did Iron Man better than any Iron Man game ever. I mean, to be able to leap into one of those suits and just take off.
Absolutely.
So.
Oh yeah.
But
if you didn't play Anthem, and not to turn this into an Anthem speech, but if you didn't play Anthem,
your chair over.
I mean, you missed out on, like he said, what an Iron Man game would be. Because for BioWare not having created a game like that before, to me, they did a good job with the movement and the body armor, the weapons. To me, I thought they did a great job. And you're right, Phil. That would be a perfect like Iron Man setup. Absolutely, 100%.
Dude, I feel like I hear you, Faded Blaze, that Anthem deserves a second chance, but but under a studio not owned by EA. I totally agree with that. I would not be surprised if EA had the wherewithal to actually patent Anthem. And we all know, like, I think it was like the creators of Crazy Taxi had a patent on the concept of picking up passengers with an arrow guiding. You could actually patent a game mechanic, or even a system. We saw that with WB Games with the Nemesis engine that they use inside the games Shadows of Mordor and Shadow of War. And that's where, if by some chance EA actually had the patent for Anthem under their belt where nobody else could use it, the only thing I could suggest at this point then would be to take the technology that you use to create those flight mechanics in the suits and maybe try to get but we all know EA is pulling out of licensed games, which sucks, because honestly, I think they really have the beginnings of what would be a really good Iron Man based game. You could have, I believe it was like Captain Patriot or whatever, basically Patriot.
Oh yeah.
You could have all sorts of different stuff. Like, I mean, you could have a lot of fun, but at the same time, EA would have to stay like F the frickin' way from trying to turn that into a service game, and I really have no hopes for that. But Blaze, yeah, you just bought Andromeda for $2. I bought that game full price day one. I enjoyed the crap out of that game. But as I was saying, because of the facial animations and just other stuff that was easily, apparently, people want video games to, I've never looked at a video, like even watching Hellblade 2. Don't get me wrong, that stuff was like wizardry, looked very lifelike, but also at the same time, my brain will never get rid of the fact that it's still a video game. It's kind of like my wife loves going to haunted houses around Halloween, and she walks around and has a blast at them. She gets scared, she screams, she clutches onto me. I'm walking around giggling the whole freaking time because my brain cannot release the fact that, oh, this is just fake. Like, I would probably be one of those guys that like got killed off in a haunted house because I would think the guy trying to kill me was just trying to play around. Oh, stop it. Quit trying to tickle me. Oh, man. By the way, try not to go off talking, but Denny's burgers are so underrated. Man, I haven't had a Denny's burger in a hot minute, but I can say I grew up in a small town where literally, like as a small joke, Denny's was almost practically fine dining if you didn't go hang out if you didn't go to the casino. That was out there. And that's where I'm just kind of like, yeah. I would have to say that, yeah, Denny's is definitely one of those ones. Denny's burgers definitely are one of the best things on the menu. There's some other stuff on Denny's that I would not order, but Andromeda I bought day one. Anthem I got for $2. Oh, never mind. You just got Anthem you got Anthem for $2. Yeah, Mickey had the misfortune to buy the Legend of Dawn edition, and he got he bought the Legend of Dawn edition for himself. He got me the Legend of Dawn edition for my birthday, and he got ripped off. He never got the Legend of Dawn skin pack because of a bug. And I did, and it's like, man, now I feel like an asshole. I got my skin, and I'm like, I was like almost ashamed to wear the skin when I was playing with Mickey, and I'm like, it's like, Mickey, Phil, is that the Legend of Dawn skin? No.
Yeah, that was a pain in the butt.
Oh, someone in the chat doesn't like Denny's is overrated. And someone else in the chat's like over here, like, ew, on Denny. Oh man, dude, it's like, remember when oh my God, the Santa Claus with Tim Allen? It's Denny's. It's an American Constitution. They're open 24 hours. But no, oh my God, another game that. Is basically Anthem the only one you can think of?
Anthem and Cyberpunk were the two.
Cyberpunk, I think CD Projekt Red actually maybe pulled off like the clutch getting out of that situation, especially considering
they did a great job.
They were featured at the Game Awards for getting out of that situation. That's for sure.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Just damn, like, all right. So I guess, does anybody else want to throw in a game in the chat other than we just kind of like left it at that, or we'll just leave it at that? Because we just wanted to have some softball kind of conversation at first. Otherwise, we're just going to get into the actual fun topics. Let's see. Yeah, like we're over here trying to be like, actually, Denny's deserves a second chance. We need to give Denny's a second chance.
That's funny.
All right. So I guess let's just discuss games real quick. I've got 3 games that I want to bring up into the conversation. And that is where I'm going to at least kind of lead off on the first one, because Mickey, I know, has not played it
Correct.
And that's where I'm just gonna kind of get into it a little bit. That oh wait, Faded Blaze said I would argue that all the EA big titles need a second chance. Yes, for sure. Especially Titanfall. That like it feels like they're gonna leave that behind.
Titanfall 2 was
Titanfall 2
well,
was fun.
Titanfall 1 was good and 2 was really fun too. That's true.
But he's also talking about NBA streets and NFL streets. Mickey, that's your department.
Didn't play those. I didn't play those actually. Nope.
Okay. I guess
I played NFL Blitz and I played NBA Jams back in the day, but I did not play those two though.
Blue, did you play NBA streets and NFL streets? If you're still in the chat. We'll see if he responds. Gotta love the delay on YouTube. But so I wanted, like, ever since I saw the trailer for this game, I wanted to check it out. I'm a sucker for, I guess, these, like, I guess they're called a Lovecraftian experience. Yeah, Blue says yes. I'm just curious on if you thought they were like, I have no idea about these games. They they need to revive Gotham Imposters. See, now we're getting into, like, yeah, definitely NFL won't allow those games. Oh, see, Blue knows. See, that's where, like, man, it's like,
oh, they must have lost the license or something for the teams or something. Then
that just goes to show, man. Like, it's so whoop-de-doo. You lost the license, renegotiate something. Like, when the fans want something, they want something.
Dude, the NFL and those guys, though, they can be ridiculous when it comes to licensing and shit. So that's one bad thing, about the sports companies is they are about the money and they'll stamp it on you.
Right. No, like, see, Gotham Imposters, I've played, like, a lot of the Gotham games when it comes to Batman. I don't remember Imposters. Oh, no, Blue's saying all the violent hits.
What?
He said no, all the violent hits.
You're not playing it because of that?
EA has the license, but they only making Madden. Oh, that's what Faded Blaze said. I know, you're just like, really? We're gonna be over here about the
NFL's like, no, you guys can't have that because those hits are too violent.
They're too violent.
What?
Did you stiff arm?
What?
That's the only
violent. What the?
That's the only thing I know is you're not, like, allowed to stiff arm or clothesline. I was almost like, well, that'd make football more interesting. I'm just saying.
No, you can stiff arm, but you can't. Yeah, you can't, like, horse collar tackle or shit like that.
I'm not one of these sadists that want to see more blood on the field or people injured, but I would have to say, like, I would like to see a little bit more aggression.
I liked the NFL back in the day. It was much funner, but it was pretty dangerous, though. I will say that.
Right. All right. Getting into it. So the game that I actually I found myself purchasing, checking out. I think it still might be on sale for a couple more days, even though it came out, but it's only $25 full price. I'm a sucker for these Lovecraftian Sherlock Holmes style games. I've played, like, a lot of the Sherlock Holmes games on the Xbox One generation and since. I've even played some of the like Antoine Porte, all these freaking games where you basically just, I don't get it, but when you're late at night just wanting to relax and drink a beer, nothing like solving some old school crime. So that's why I was brought into, like, this game called No One Wants to Die, or Nobody Wants to Die, or Nobody Wants to Die. That's what it is. So that's where it's kind of like a spin on, like, 1930s, 1940s looking vehicles, and the clothes they're even wearing. It looks very old school. But then it goes straight Fifth Element, where these older vehicles fly. There's technology. Like, you go through and you have these devices that help you recraft the crime scene. And what like, I know it's probably like, oh my God, this sounds like, paint drying. What makes this game interesting, now keep in mind, I've only played for about an hour and a half, is the concept of immortality, to make sure people pay their taxes and keep money funneling into the government. When you die, you don't really die. They transfer your brain into a new body. You actually get to chill, like, oh, I want to be in that body. They actually like have these auctions where people can buy their new body that they get to put their brain into.
That's funny.
But the whole purpose of it is apparently is for you to essentially, they own your body. They make money off of you buying the body. And like when you hear the guy, because you're a police officer in this world and he's a shit talker, you just hear him always to like, yep, another 100 years of paying taxes and dealing with the bullshit, And I was just like, oh my God, when you for a lot of people, they're like, man, I would love to travel and do this and do that. But oh man, freaking, like, dude, this game is, at least I'm having a lot of fun. The story is very interesting and you're already wanting to kind of know more. And obviously there's something going on with this guy because apparently his brain is not taking to the new body too well. So they have him on some kind of like medication. It's kind of like in real life, like when you get an organ transplant and you have rejection, they give you medication to try to like get rid of, just try to stop your body from rejecting it. And it's the same concept here. And I haven't gotten too deep other than the main character, the main protagonist is already finding himself involved in some, let's just say controversial stuff that will probably more than likely get him caught up in like some conspiracies and probably on a hit list somewhere. But the graphics are cool. I love the fact that you get to sit in the car as you drive to these locations in New York, in Times Square, and definitely very Fifth Element meets 1940s. What's up, Arnie? Thank you for coming in. Vanny Kachik, yes, thank you for joining us. We have played the First Descendant. I need to play more of it. Mickey over here has been playing the crap out of it. Same with Blue in the chat. Yeah, definitely. There was a little bit of a beta test on another MMO this week that kind of pulled everybody away from the First Descendant, but now the beta's over and they've turned it off, so everybody's going to probably go back onto it. Yes, Vanny, we're going to definitely get into that subject here soon too. Back on the Fated Blaze though. Actually, we'll start with, we'll start here. Fated Blaze says, I wish Blitz made a comeback, but Midway is shut down. That was I remember NFL Blitz. I actually played that one back in the day. That one I played. Mexum, thank you for joining the chat, by the way, Mexum. I still have Gotham Imposters in my Steam library. The reason why it was shut down is the hosting company went bankrupt. Dude, that's what really sucks is like, I wish a lot of game companies would realize that there should always be a way to play a game offline in some manner or form. Otherwise your game gets lost in the ethereal and nobody really knows what it is anymore. Fated Blaze, I wish Rockstar stopped BSing around and made another Bully game. Now made another Bully game or Manhunt. And that's where I never played Manhunt. I know a lot of people were pretty excited about it when it came out. And when it comes to Bully, that one is actually in my back catalog, but I actually want to check that one out because it looked really funny. And it just seems like Rockstar Games, when they were extremely creative before they have this love affair of infatuation with only working on, Grand Theft Auto and every once in a while.
RDR.
See, that's the only thing. Red Dead Redemption, they've already kind of like stopped updating Red Dead Redemption Online. They kind of like, what's up, Yobi? Thank you for coming in and check it out. Thank you, good sir, for hanging out tonight. But no, Rockstar, dude, I feel like they kind of like axed Red Dead Redemption too quickly. Especially, well, at least on the online, like the single player game is great, but yeah, it was like they took all the resources that they were using to try to keep Red Dead Redemption Online going, and they were just like, screw it, and and it's straight back to Grand Theft Auto Online, which seems to be their love child. What were you oohing about? What'd you get? Are you playing games?
Oh, I heard thunder. I heard thunder.
I didn't hear that. Nope.
Thunder.
Thank you for sharing it out, Yobi. Thank you so much, good sir. Also, yeah, everybody else, feel free to get into the conversation. That's one thing we love about having the conversation here is we actually encourage you to join the chat, and we try to bring you in on the conversation because it's hard to give everybody a microphone, but everybody's got a keyboard. But yeah, Nobody Wants to Die just came out this week. I'm having fun with it so far. The graphics are great, especially if you guys are into those Lovecraftian, Sherlock Holmes style games where you just got to figure out what's going on. And it's got a really great twist to it with the futuristic atmosphere. Say that 10 times fast. So, but that's kind of like, I also played Still Wakes the Deep. At least for me, it was a good game. It was like a 6-hour little thing. I thought it was great, having that whole little runaround on the oil rig. Definitely a very great little small setting for a horror game because you can't just leave the oil rig. And yeah, that was a little bit of a fun one too. But obviously we've got two games, one game that came out on Game Pass this week, and we got another game that did the beta test. So At least let's get Mickey. Do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Game Pass game or the beta test?
Let's start with the beta game.
Okay. So the game he's excited for, I forget. I think me and Mickey were even playing the first Descendant. Faded Blaze, my last one. For God's sake, a final Darksiders game. Darksiders I would definitely say, man, they definitely made a lot of those ones, but yeah. How about the Darkness? I would even say the Darkness. If we want to start reaching back, the Darkness. I
remember you telling me about that game. I remember you told me about that game.
The guy that had the snake.
The arms, yeah.
Yep. That was a very interesting game.
I remember
that. Or if you want to talk about, if we really want to reach deep, guys, how about Riddick? Wouldn't it be great for another Riddick game? Escape from Butcher's Bay, but like a continuation of Riddick. If anybody even knows who Riddick is, hopefully you do.
Mm-hmm. I know who Riddick is. I like the whole series too. I love the series.
Oh yeah. I have the Chronicles of Riddick and Dark Athena on my 360. And speaking of 360, I went out and bought some 360 games this week because I'm like, even the guy at the game store was like, they're already starting to see the value of 360 games starting to go up because of the closure of the Xbox.
Oh yeah, of course.
So that I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna grab. I ended up grabbing Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Face Breakers. I'm curious how many people are gonna even remember Face Breakers. That was like a little fun beat 'em up that I remember playing back in the day. But back on to what me and Mickey were talking about is we were playing the first Descendant, I believe, and then Blue came in the chat. And of course, Blue's always got he's like the dude that's always got the good shit that you don't know about. And he's like opening up his coat, like, you want this good shit? And freaking, he just gets in the chat and he's like, I'm
always scratching my neck when Blue brings stuff up. I'm like,
I know,
oh man, give that to me. Give it to me.
Porky Soda. I just bought an OG Xbox, old LCD with RCA plugs just to play Butcher's Bay. Found it at Z. Holy cow! The fact that you found it in Zia, that means you're in our part of the world.
Zia Records.
Zia Records.
Oh,
good old Zia Records, dude. I don't know if you're here in Phoenix, but the one to go see is the new store that I think they just opened up somewhere around. I think it was like Bethany Home or something like that. They just opened that store and it's like they put everything they had into that store and it's nice. They had a lot of stuff there. And Another place to also find good like retro shit here in like the Phoenix area is Fallout Games. Oh, you're in Vegas. Oh, damn. Okay, so yeah, I know that you were still in our part of the world, but yeah, I can only imagine the size of the store in Vegas. And then Faded Blaze. I plan on buying a modded 360. Dude, I mean, I just think old gaming needs to be kept alive, and the guys that go through and mod these things and actually keep them going, I mean, definitely it's worth it to have access to some of the older games, especially when you're kind of like having an itch for like a good old fashioned gaming experience. But so yeah, Blue hops in the chat and he's just like, "Hey, you guys playing the beta? What beta? Throne of Liberty. What the hell's Throne of Liberty?" So both me and Mickey are now like, we put down our game and now we're getting out our phones, looking up Throne of Liberty, and we both download it. And I mean, you got up to what level?
17, 18.
Jeez. Okay, yeah, I work too damn much, everybody. I got up to like level like 8 or 9. Like I tried. So, but and definitely a really good game. Speaking of which, we'll have like Throne of, like, how much more time is up on this one? Maybe we'll just throw Throne of Liberty on this right now and just kind of like give people like wondering what the hell is Throne of Liberty. Mickey, do you want to kind of like explain Throne of Liberty and your impressions of the game at first?
So it's an MMO, and it's fantasy, but gameplay is and how you build your character, a lot is based on the weapons you use, and you can equip 2 different types of weapons. So it gives you abilities for both weapons. Obviously, you can. I mean, this game has so much. You can upgrade your weapons, your spells, your gear. Obviously, you can get different gear and different weapons and things like that. You can make your gear, make weapons, rings, jewelry, stuff like that. They got travel stones, like pretty much any other MMO. But the game is, I mean, it's so much fun, and I'm glad Blue told us about this one, because this is one I am buying the Ultimate Edition for. So,
you're all in.
Oh, I'm all in. I'm definitely all in.
All right.
Yeah, that game is so much fun. And instead of mounts, you actually become the mount to travel.
Yeah, you have your morphs.
Your morphs, right. So to me, that's better. So I think the game, I enjoyed the beta, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Throne and Liberty. My bad. Jesus Christ. I did that shit again. I keep saying Throne of Liberty. I said Throne of Liberty. Throne and Liberty. Blue is in here already, like, checking me in my stupidity. I bumble names. My bad. That's funny. All right, whatever. Throne and Liberty. If it was called Video Game 2964872, I would remember the damn title. I'm a numbers guy, not a letters guy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so yeah, like Mickey was talking about, so real quick, because like how my mind works. So Synapse, you are like, so in this world, there is people born blessed by whatever, like I couldn't exactly give you a 1-for-1 of it, but apparently, like, the people who are able to wield magic in this game are called like star children or starborn. And because the magic comes from some kind of a star, and it basically happens at random, and you build your character based on like, you're like a survivor of like an attack from like one of the major starborns that's considered a witch. And when you were a child, and now you're a full grown adult, and you're essentially trying to help other people survive all these situations. Yeah, Blue letting everybody know that it has a September 17th release date. It is a free. I'm wanting to say, is it going to be? No, you're saying there is. Well, there is an Ultimate Edition. I don't know if it's exactly going to be free to play. That's definitely, because there's different editions that you can buy to the game. But like Mickey was talking about, there's, instead of you getting mounts in the game, you have your morphs. You have a morph that's considered your dash for like when you're wanting to run very quickly. You'll see that in some of the gameplay here when I turn into like the lion looking thing that runs around. By the way, speaking of which, everybody, I had way better footage of this game, like a lot more eventful and action packed. And I don't understand, but my capture card decided to capture 7 seconds of like an hour of good fun. Yeah, favorite topic is the TTS at the FTC. Yeah, we'll get into the FTC. Trust me on that one, because there's gonna. The funny part is, I knew that when Microsoft did what they did with Game Pass, I was like, where's the FTC? I know they're gonna like pop in, be like, oh, look what you did. But anyway, so I had way better footage, but my capture card decided to screw up. And I played the game for a good hard hour. And when I went to go check my capture card, I realized nothing. Yeah. So Arnie, Throne and Liberty is free to play. So when you buy some of the more expensive versions, so when you buy different versions of the game, you're buying like, you know, those packages where you get like exclusive stuff for your character and probably crafting materials and stuff like that. But also for a lot of people that don't know, Throne and Liberty is being done by Amazon Studios. So this is an Amazon game. Amazon, as we could see, this partnership with Xbox putting Game Pass on the Fire Stick, this partnership is now going different directions. We're already seeing Amazon kind of even branch out themselves. Even though they have their own systems with Luna, they're putting their game on other platforms like Xbox. We're starting with Throne and Liberty, which comes out in September. We're going to have New World, which also comes out shortly after that, I believe in October, November. Don't quote me on that. Published by Amazon. But it's the fact that, you know, it has like, when you turn this game on, you see like Amazon's logo pop up. But yeah, so with the game, you have your morphs, you have the dash, you have the glide morph, which is essentially if you jump off a cliff, you turn into an eagle or another bird, or you have the swimming morph, where at least your base one right now is an otter, but I was also able to turn my character into a turtle. NCSoft, yeah, I know, like, I still have some questions about the developer, Arnie. Like, when I was playing the beta, I don't understand it, but my characters would stop talking. If I didn't have the subtitles on, it would have been complete silence. So thankfully I had the subtitles on, but what made it weird is like their mouths would keep moving and they would still be like doing the gestures and acting out like what they were trying to say, but there was like no audio. It would turn off and on. And then even funnier, it's something that I've never seen in a game. I'm pretty sure it's happened, but for me, what was weird is when one of the characters in one of the cutscenes was talking, his voice sounded was a certain way, and then all of a sudden it was like they switched out the voice actor in the conversation, and all of a sudden this guy has a totally different sounding voice. It would kind of made me chuckle. I'm like, did we need some lines reread and you couldn't find that guy, so you just grabbed some dude walking around the studio? What happened here? But no, Throne and Liberty. I'm gonna do it again. Blue also said New World is coming out October 15th. But Throne and Liberty, I actually had a lot of fun with it. What really kind of started hooking me was a couple hours before they turned off the beta. I did the mission where you got to meet I forget his name or whatever, the guy that fought all the wolves, and you meet the deer, and you meet the god that looks like a deer, and you go through that whole storyline. And now I just got to the area where the goblins are at and stuff like that. And at this point, I was like, man, I could see myself playing this game. It seems fun, but I also, because I knew it was a beta, I didn't want to sink too much time into trying to perfect my character, because at least from what Blue says, none of what we did is going to carry over into the new game. So therefore, I just kind of like, I just decided to just like, I'm gonna half-ass a character and check the game out. But definitely, I had a good time playing it. And I'm looking forward to when that game officially comes out. For anybody that's into MMOs, everybody knows I'm a sucker for Elder Scrolls, but this definitely was, this was pretty fun. Kind of also wondering why the hell is my video kind of frozen here, but anything else you want to add on about Throne to Liberty?
Nope. That was, I'm just happy. I'm ready for it to come out. I'm excited because it comes out September 17th from what Blue said. So I'm ready.
But you're going in, you're buying the big boy package.
I am buying the big boy package.
All right. Well,
what?
I said that's your anniversary.
Is that your wife correcting you about buying the big boy package?
Yeah, she was saying something about it. Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, really? You didn't tell me about this, really?" No. No. For me, my big boy package is gonna be Star Wars next month, which I'm looking forward to having that discussion. But speaking of another new game, this one came out in Game Pass. Mickey's gonna have impressions. I'm gonna say I'm already probably 4, maybe 5 hours deep into the game, and we're talking Flintlock. I definitely said this was going to be a good game when I played it on the demo. I feel like maybe though the demo gave me some false sense of security, because I felt like I did great in the demo. But now that I'm playing the actual game, there's some moments where I'm getting my ass handed to me. And no, I'm not playing it on story. I'm playing it on normal. But still, there's been like, dude, I'm still trying, like, I understand the concept of parrying. I just don't do parrying right. I'm more of a dodge person. But Flintlock, I'm having fun playing it. I mean, it's kind of like one of those games where you got to push forward and you get to or at least what a lot of people like to refer to as the bonfire. But in this game, I think they're called like lodestones, where you activate them and they become a checkpoint where you can, upgrade your skills, cash in your renown, stuff like that, typical Soul stuff. And so it's kind of like, you push forward a couple lodestones, and then when you're pretty damn deep, you're like, okay, I've got sweaty palms. I feel like my adrenaline is stretched thin. I'm gonna go play something a little bit more relaxing for a little while. But at least for me, I'm having fun playing Flintlock. But for me, I'm going to say there is story there, but it's not like a gripping story with lots of it. I would say for me, what's addicting, what makes me keep going back, is the gameplay itself. The combination of the sword with the pistol. I like how they integrated the god looking fox into the combat. It's definitely a very unique experience. And so I keep going back for the gameplay. I'm not going back for the graphics. I'm not going back for the story. I'm going back for the gameplay. Just because I like something that's just like, I don't know why. I love playing games, but when it comes to a game like this, like Souls, Jedi Survivor, or even Lies of P, there's a certain sense of like almost like silliness in the accomplishment of like, yeah, that's right, I busted my ass and beat that game. But what do you got, man? What's your impressions of it, Mickey?
So I like it too, and yes, I had issues with the pairing too, where I'm not very accurate on it, because you have to be pretty, pretty clean with it. So it takes me a few times, but the game itself is smooth. I like it. I like the, going between, the gun and, and whatever you're using for your melee. So it's got a good mix. You do have to be kind of smart on how you play, like the shielders, like we were talking about the other night. But overall, the game is good. I think it looks good too. I think graphically, it's really nice. It's a nice looking game, and it's just as good as I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to keep playing it too because I want to progress on it. And the story I haven't really gotten into a whole lot, but I do want to kind of try to keep track of it though. So I'm going to keep playing it. It's a good game. It's definitely one that I would suggest. If you like that type of game. So I like it. I've enjoyed it so far.
So, dude, I'm glad. It's one of those things where I'm glad it was in Game Pass because I feel like there's just so much else. Dude, you almost feel like you're drowning in games, but at least with Game Pass,
we are.
Now, I would say if it wasn't in Game Pass, this would probably been one of those games I would have bought. I would have bought it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I would agree.
Blaze says, I don't blame you. Every now and then I go back and play Saints Row 2. Dude, that was actually a fun one. I
haven't played any of those games yet. The Saints Row games. I haven't played any of those.
Dude, you gotta play them. You gotta play them. Especially, it's kind of like it's like it started off as like we're gonna try to be a competitor for Grand Theft Auto, and then they realized they couldn't compete, so they just started getting really outlandish, and it went from like real gangsters to Hollywood cliche gangsters to zombie apocalypses, and now I'm getting to the point where we're trying to get out of hell, and at this point you're just like, man, this is why these guys this is Saints Row right here, because when it's like one of those things, if you can't compete, adapt, and these guys found a way of really setting themselves apart when it came to trying to kind of be in that niche with Grand Theft Auto, but they realized very quickly they couldn't compete with Grand Theft Auto, so they decided to just kind of pivot. And it kind of stinks that what happened with Grand Theft Auto not Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, with the new iteration that came out that was under the leadership of Embracer Group, that a lot of people were not too fond of. Yeah, see, here's the thing, Yobi. I bought the last entry of Saints Row. I still need to play it, but I know from people that I've chatted with and some of the stuff I've seen about it, I know I'm going to end up enjoying the game because I heard that the gameplay was phenomenal. It was just the story was not there. I mean, it was literally a bunch of people in student debt that were basically wanting to get out of student debt by doing some crazy shit. And that's where I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're echoing some of the conversations of today, but that's where I just kind of felt it was a little weird. I don't see how that's Saints Row. Saints Row was a bunch of very over the top Hollywood gangsters, and now we're dealing with student debt. Okay, cool. Faded Blaze, Saints Row 2 is always goated. Yeah, I guess next time maybe that's on sale, Mickey. I might have to just send it your way. I mean,
yeah, we have to do it digitally because I don't have the
well, how else will I send it your way? What, am I going to mail you a copy?
Well,
Mickey, I'm going to mail you this disc.
Good. Or we could figure out.
Phil, how old-fashioned of you. Not only are you using the mail system, but you're also giving me a disc.
So we could also go out to dinner or something and
Oh,
do it that way too, of course.
now it just sounds like just so everybody knows
Not just
me
you and me.
yeah, I know. I'm like, people are like, what the just so everybody knows, when we go out to dinner, Mickey's got his wife and I got my wife. And like, dude, like me and Mickey are just sitting there conversating while our wives are like getting their drink on and by the fucking end of the night. The last time we went out, actually, Mickey also had to babysit me because I was drinking with him. Oh my God.
That's funny.
But nothing was more like, dude, the drunkest Mickey has ever seen me was when I was doing, it was like, oh my God, this was years ago, but it was like every time we won a match, my wife would give me a Jaeger bomber, and we won so many matches that night. So by the end of the night, I'm like, I'm in I love you man mode. Like I'm over here on the headset with Mickey, like, I love you, man.
By the way, if you think Phil talks a lot now, get some alcohol in him.
Yobi, me too.
No, it's fun.
Yobi's talking about Saints, the newer Saints Row. Me too. I bought it as well. This is how bad the story was for the last Saints Row. The Saints didn't start being true Saints until the last fucking mission. Oh, man. Old funny. School. Remember Gamefly? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Gamefly. I never utilized it, but I remember it though.
I remember it. I remember for the longest time they were really trying to hold on to. They were like, you could buy a game you could rent your games for blah, 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 blah. And they were like trying to compete. And then Microsoft would like came out with Game Pass and Gamefly's like, all right, fuck it. Sayonara. We're over.
So the store that I work at for my company was an old Blockbuster. How about that?
Dude. You worked for Blockbuster?
No, the store that you came by and saw, that's an old Blockbuster.
That's why it's so open spaced in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dude, it's still got the flop and on the outside to how they used to drop the CD, the discs and stuff off. It's still there.
Oh my God! Does it got the Blockbuster logos on it?
No, that's all been taken out. But
I know Gamefly is still like everybody's like coming out. Blue Gamefly was the shit. Porky Soda Gamefly is still a thing. Yobi Gamefly is still a thing. Oh, that's man. Funny. Okay, I will. The Gamefly didn't go out of business. They're still kicking it a lot with the homies. Still use it and they're happy with it. I never got into Gamefly, but kudos to Gamefly for really sticking it out. Because at this point they're holding out longer than freaking. Oh my God! Like we remember Blockbusters, Planet Hollywood Video. I guess Redbox is finally done. I guess I've read some articles where the Redboxes outside of Circle K's and other places are either gone or the ones that you can find they're shut down, like they're not working.
That's funny because there's one outside of Circle K that we stop at every time we come home from work.
Have you bought anything recently out of it?
Nuh-uh. I don't even know if it works. Oh, actually, it does work because somebody dropped a movie off in there.
Really? Because I've already read a couple articles where some of them were like they went to return something and it wouldn't like even turn. It was like it was shut off remotely.
Oh, really? No, I saw him walk up and insert the movie in, and it it took it or whatever. I mean, it could be, obviously it could be, not going to be around for much longer, but
I guess they filed for bankruptcy.
Not surprising.
Which, see, I want to see stuff like that. Dude, I want to see stuff like that come back. Dude, I loved back in the day just perusing Blockbuster and Planet Video, and literally just perusing and seeing stuff you didn't even know about. And it's kind of like what you do with Netflix now, where you just kind of like peruse around, watch the trailers that pop up, read the synapses of the movies. But I still remember the old school way of just walking around the damn movie store, picking up boxes, reading the back of them. finding one that really interested you and then having the clerk tell you that they're out of stock on it and you get all pissed off about it.
Dude, those were the good old days. I miss those days.
Yobi, Gamefly does movies as well. I did not know that. Faded Blaze, Gamefly will soon do games are going digital unless they make an app. I could say, hold on, let me get the Porkies. To be fair, the good thing about Gamefly is that it's any game that you can rent already have too many subscriptions though. Yeah, I know, but so what's interesting is I've read some articles that, yeah, physical media is still on the downward spiral, but they did notice in certain markets, all of a sudden it's ticking up. And that's because so at this point, I really do think we have already gone past the golden era of streaming services. And we have already hit its peak. We've got a ton of market saturation, and a lot of people are starting to realize that their favorite shows and movies can be taken in and out of their subscription services without warning. And that's where, or it's like, if you want to watch a specific movie or television show, you got to do some Google research to even find out what service it's on at that current time. And so they've noticed that there's starting to be a little bit of pushback from the physical media market, that they're not saying that all of a sudden, it's making a comeback, but it's kind of like how all of a sudden now there's vinyls back in the store, for vinyl records. They're starting to see the physical media market at least starting to have a little bit of a tick up. Let's take the movie Oppenheimer. When Oppenheimer came out on disc, they sold out. They ran out of Universal ran out of copies to distribute for Oppenheimer. And they had to put out a statement, I believe, on social media and other places to let people know that they were making more physical copies of Oppenheimer. I was one of those.
I've never seen it.
It's on Vudu if you want to check it out. It's about the it's about the White Sands project of developing the atom bomb.
Okay, I see.
To me that's almost personal history, because I grew up near White Sands. I grew up on Kirkland Air Force Base, and in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they had a lot of the stuff there from that project, with Albert Einstein and other people that were involved in creating that weapon. And yeah, it definitely, I've been in the presence of decommissioned, nuclear weapons casings. No, they didn't have the warhead. No, they didn't have the warheads in them, and they weren't primed for going to war. They were just empty casings. But I mean, to be in the presence of literal weapons of mass destruction,
that's still pretty cool.
That was my grandfather. Growing up with him, he still retained military clearance till the day he passed away, and he would take me on base, and I got to go to places and see things that I'm at least pretty damn grateful for.
That's cool.
But so getting back into our discussion though, we'll kind of get away from Flintlock. But that's because we're going to get into a subject now. Let's light this chat on fire. I know there's going to be people who are going to hop on this. So let's talk about, and then please people, this is not the hate train. This is just pure facts. This is where we're going to have some fun. PlayStation's game Concord. Mickey, just a few months ago, you sat down for the first time ever and actually watched a PlayStation showcase event for us to talk about on the show. And at that event, or that PlayStation, well, not even event, but during that state of play, the little they advertised Concord for like the first 5-10 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it was only like, no, maybe we'll say 5.
It's about that, yeah.
Initial impressions on Concord. Do you remember it? It was kind of like Overwatch meets Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Well,
did that like move the needle for you?
When I saw it, it did. I wasn't completely I didn't get completely interested in it right away because it really does. I mean, it really looks a lot like Overwatch. But you can't judge a book by its cover, so you have to judge it by its gameplay. So, I mean, I would try it, but it's not one that like I'm completely excited for or anything. And
Well,
I don't even know if I'd be able to play it anyways because I don't know if it'll be on the PS4.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think so. Yeah, as far as I know, PlayStation is already wanting to move on from the PS4. They're starting to put more and more games as PS5 only, so I would not be shocked at all. But again, that seems a little counterintuitive to what they're trying to do, because when you make a game when you make games as a service, you want that game to be everywhere because it's a service game. And we all know that the PS4 right now, currently as it is its bigger install base out of its 2 consoles. And if they were to not make it work on the PS4, I feel like they're leaving a lot of potential players behind in the dust, which kind of counterintuitive to what they're trying to do with a service game. But hey, man, they could do what they want. But
I mean, I'd check it out, but it's not a game that's really like pulling me in, or anything like that. But I'd give it a chance though.
Arnie, what do you mean that explains my glow, Arnie? Or there might be too many that explains your glow. I'm not glowing about this. For me, I'm going to be upfront. I feel like if I'm glowing, I feel like there's a lot of market saturation for games as a service. And like, as we could see that we're maybe getting a little bit of fatigue. Like, I mean, look at what Amazon, Throne and Liberty, MMO, games as a service. New World, MMO, games as a service. Even though that one is probably a little bit more single player because you got to buy. If I'm right, New World is not free to play. Oh no, the nuclear stuff. That's funny. Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with Fallout games. Oh yeah, like Faded Blaze. To be honest, they screw themselves as soon as they put a $40 price tag on it. Yeah, Blue, RIP Concord. Yes. So I sent Mickey the article. I don't know if he read it, but also for those that didn't know it, we're going to be kind of like doing an article from the Gamer. But it does, like, everybody's been talking about it. So here's some of the highlights. Concord's open beta results are underwhelming with only 2,363 players participating. This is in stark contrast to other games in beta, such as Throne and Liberty, which had 58,000 players. Concord's performance is even lower than that of Payday 3, another recent flop, which had over 35,000 players during its open beta. Now, I do believe that these numbers that they're getting are from Steam. I don't believe that they're taking into consideration of maybe what took place on PlayStation, but these are Steam numbers because Steam, I guess, is able to report a little bit easier if I'm correct. But that's where they kind of like went into like the idea or the conversation is the market too crowded for Concord? The market for live service shooter games is oversaturated, making it difficult for new entries like Concord to succeed. The game's influences and tone feel dated, and it fails to stand out in a crowded field of similar games like Halo and Destiny have already captured the audience. Concord aims to attract this crowd, but they leaving little room for new contenders. Sorry, I probably read that wrong, but that's because my screen's flashing in front of me. The failure of Concord highlights a broader issue in the gaming industry. Talented developers are being wasted on projects that are unlikely to succeed. Developers are often forced to work on games that follow outdated trends rather than giving the freedom to create innovative and original titles. This leads to a cycle of producing games that fail to capture the interest in players. And they did their conclusion saying Concord's failure is not surprising given the current state of the market. The game is another example of a live service shooter that is unlikely to make a significant impact. While the developers behind Concord are talented, they are constrained by corporate mandates that prioritize profit over quality. The game industry needs to shift its focus away from chasing trends and towards supporting creative and original ideas. Only then will developers be able to produce games that truly resonate with players. How do you feel about all that, Mickey?
I mean, they are kind of dipping into a heavily vast, game type, but I mean, unfortunately, the beta, those beta numbers are kind of scary, but I mean, things can change. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'd give it a chance and just to see, because, I don't want to just write it off right away, but, it is definitely delving into a vast world of that, of that game style. So it's got a lot of competition. So it's one of those, wait and see. To see what happens, but I mean, you never know what'll happen.
You got Faded Blaze over here. Yeah, not playing Concord. I'm gonna stick to playing Pokemon Unite on my Switch. Oh man.
Unite. Okay.
So, dude, when I saw Concord, I honestly, for a second, was like, "Oh man, they're making like an Overwatch thing." I was like, "Okay, this kind of."
That's what I thought too.
At first, I was even telling Blue, "This has a really good chance." Like, I really hope that they have like a story, because Overwatch, it's like, "Oh, we've got a comic book, we've got an online comic book, we make these amazing cutscenes, but all story-driven experiences are just non-existent. It's just run around and shoot at shit." There's a lot of potential for Overwatch that I really feel that Blizzard failed to capture. They talked about doing PvE stuff, and that they were going to have like these seasons where you could actually have like story-based crap going on, and they abandoned it real quick because, easy way out, like, low production costs and charging people a shitload of money. And, we had this discussion at my job today that, I'm pretty sure raising prices and trying to nickel and dime customers is the easy way out. But what really saves your ass over time is repeat customers. And that's where, I mean, dude, I gave up on Overwatch because everything I liked about it kind of went away. And then the stuff I was promised didn't show up. So I thought for a sec, Faded Blaze, by the way, Pokemon Unite is a MOBA. Now you got me looking this up. Okay, I see what it's a battle. It's a battle run. Okay, I see what it is. Okay, well, I guess, yeah, if you're looking for that itch of essentially a battle arena, there you go. Like, I mean, yeah, I could see why people would probably prefer that over Concord, because it just feels like that's what I mean. You've already stuck your line in the sand. Like, this is my battle arena game right over here. Kind of like people have Overwatch. They're not going to go flocking to Concord. You're not going to go flocking to Concord. Kind of like I have Elder Scrolls Online, which is where, yeah, I'm going to probably dabble in Throne and Liberty, but my main MMO, the one that I'm going to put a lot of my time and effort into, that I'm just going to keep going back to, is Elder Scrolls Online. They've already captured me. That's where it's really difficult to come in and just be like, oh no, play our game, play this one. And it's like, nah, good luck on that concept, because, you know, unless you have something that's like lightning, I mean, you could strike the lottery and definitely capture lightning in a bottle, but for the most part, you're not going to get a whole lot of people that are like, I'm going to stop playing this game that I've got a lot of time and effort into, and I'm going to play yours. Arnie, the thing they are overlooking is that Sony did not force Firewalk to make this game. Firewalk was making this game and they showed it to Sony, and that's why Sony bought the studio. Yeah, but again, like but that's where it's kind of like the idea of like chasing trends. And that's where, you know, that's the one thing that really concerns me, is like all these studios see the concept of like, oh, I don't got to spend millions of dollars to build a good game. I could spend, you know, a fraction of that and try to create games as a service, which is going to print money, because it worked for Fortnite. It worked for Epic Games with Fortnite. It worked for Bungie with Destiny. It worked for Activision with Call of Duty, Blizzard with Overwatch. I'm just saying, like, they see all these other companies that can do it, but that's where there was an argument made that with service games, service games are not something that you can just like throw that shit out there and just start printing money day one. Let's look at Fortnite. Fortnite's MMO style game is nothing. Is like the original Fortnite game you had to buy. I do own the original game, and it was a save the world campaign, and it was very PvE. The Battle Royale was a pivot because of what PUBG had created, and Fortnite did that overnight, and they pivoted. But that's where, obviously, they saw potential, but it wasn't like they just, Fortnite didn't work out day one, so screw it, throw it in the trash. They went back to the drawing board and saw an opportunity, and the rest is history. They didn't give up on their game. They modded it and changed it and went a different direction. Same with Destiny. Destiny, as much shit that I can give Bungie for some of the decisions that they've made, especially when it comes to sunsetting content and stuff like that. That's like open into it's one of the reasons why I quit playing Destiny. But at least for Destiny, the original game, the original Destiny, there was highs where, you know, people were like really excited. And then there was the lows where people are not excited. And then they finally, towards the end, were able to resurrect that and get a hype back for the game. And then they did Destiny 2, put themselves on another high. And then they kind of like went again through this roller coaster ride of highs and lows. A lot of publishers, a lot of developers don't know that, or can't seem to fathom or grasp the concept, is that when it comes to a service game, you, for starters, need to be dedicated, and you need to weather any storm. And one of those storms is going to be knowing that people might not like the product you put out. And that's where you got to then learn to pivot. You got to figure out what people like and what people don't like and adjust. It's kind of like one of the arguments that I have at my job right now. Instead of trying to tell the consumer how to spend their money, you let the consumer tell you how they want to spend their money, and you adjust yourself to fill what they're looking for. And so that way, people wouldn't you like that? Rather than trying to convince somebody to spend their money, it's so much easier when somebody's like, oh, I would rather have it be like this and I would give you money. Oh, okay. I mean, and that's where, like, so for starters, I forget what article I just read recently where the developer was talking about so many publishers and developers are so quickly to abandon their service project games because they're not willing to weather the storm of all the trials and tribulations that it's going to take to turn it into a success. And you
Mhm.
can, and you know what? Yeah, you can put all those blood, sweat, and tears in, and it still might be a success. But you are not going to be able to call it a success within like 3 to 6 months. Like it kind of like look at right now with what's going on with Suicide Squad. Me and Mickey liked Suicide Squad. We enjoyed it. We thought it was funny. The Joker DLC, very lackluster. Now we're getting Nora Freeze instead of Mr. Freeze. I guess when you're trying to do something original, cool. But that's where, maybe you should have realized it was just like, rather than trying to convince people that they would like to play as Mr. Freeze's wife, why the fuck did you not use Mr. Freeze? Why did you not make the Joker have a little bit like, cool. That's the other thing is these companies also need to have a roadmap. They just can't wing it. Like you can't sit there and make plans for like the first year on a service game and, it didn't work out, screw it. You got to have like some serious plans to like hold this game going down for a while. Like we just mentioned Rainbow Six Siege. That game literally had a season called Operation Health. Why? Because they knew that game was broken and there was a lot of problems with the game and that it was really not hitting the mark with fans. But Ubisoft knew that there was potential there. And so they really weathered that storm. And now, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that, Rainbow Six Siege is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but they have at least created a product that has a fan base that keeps coming back. Yeah, that's what I mean. Even Faded Blaze is talking about they could have used Mr. Freeze or Captain Cold. I mean, like guys, I'm looking forward because according to the data miners that did what they did, or also some of the stuff that WB has put out, that I guess Deathstroke is going to be the final character for Suicide Squad, and then WB has actually given no indication that they're going to keep the game going beyond the first 4 seasons that they've created. And I'm just like, well, you didn't really have much of a story for Joker. I can only imagine what you're going to do with Deathstroke, but Deathstroke at least has me excited because I like the Deathstroke character. But now at this point, what are we really going to get? Because like we thought we would have gotten more when it came to the Joker, at least the story, but it was literally like, you got to go save the Joker. The Joker it was literally go grind your ass off for a few hours and you save the Joker and you get a high five and an ass slap and there you go. You got the Joker.
I think I bought the Joker.
Yeah, you bought the Joker. I grinded him
yeah,
out.
I'll
say I grinded him out, but that's why I was just like, dude, like I was very shocked that they literally gave him no story.
Yeah.
Peanut Book, who at Sony thought charging $40 was a good idea? Can you see Fortnite charging $40 to play when it started? That's the funny part. Fortnite Save the World Edition, I think they had different tiers. I think it was like 40, 50, and 60 or something. Like they had different versions. I actually played the Save the World campaign for Fortnite. I thought it was fun. But that's where the Battle Royale thing is where they really hit the mark. And yeah, at least I'm one of those that can say I played the original Fortnite before Battle Royale. Porky Soda, trend chasing with 5-year development cycles isn't a good mix. No, it is not. That is not. And also, like the one thing I don't agree with is how PlayStation went trend chasing so hard that they spent all this money on studios and games. And they were like, we've got like 10 live service games that they're wanting to come out. Then 10 became 6. And then I think 6 finally ended up with like being 2 or 3. And it's not like you can take these studios back to Walmart and get a return, or you can take all the development time that they, back and get a return on that. it's like that money's gone. So, I mean, you could have used a lot of that money to fund something that would have been a lot more, that would have, like that article said, would have resonated with fans a lot more. And then also, that's where you might have gotten some lightning in a bottle with a new idea. But no, here we are still like circling games as a service. Arnie, if you have a live service game, you have to convince existing players to switch to your game. So you either have to do things better than the other games or do something that other games don't. And that's the big problem, Arnie, is I'm worried that a lot of developers nowadays have this, like, let's face it, there's some talented developers out there that have a lot of pull, but we also know that there's studio heads out there that literally walked in like, look what Fortnite's doing. I want that in my game. Oh, look at what Call of Duty Warzone did. I want that in the game too. And then all of a sudden you get this conglomeration of a game that just takes game mechanics from other games that people like us that really play games or stay informed are able to physically see those mechanics in the game. And you're just like, oh shit, I'm already playing a game like that. Kind of like that's what happened with Concord. Overwatch. But I thought for a second Concord had an inkling of a chance of being able to do something that Blizzard could have done, that Blizzard didn't do, and that was to have some kind of a story or some kind of a concept of the game because of the way that cutscene was rolling in the beginning of the show, and then just come to find out that was nothing but a cutscene, and people saw right through it.
That's true.
Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh, what? That's funny. But anyways, let's kind of because we've got 30 minutes. We've got a quick one, and we've got a little bit of I guess 2 semi-quick ones. But you know what? Because it is in the title, let's just touch on it real quick. Just for those who don't know, apparently, there's been this huge controversy with Ubisoft and the concept of that apparently a game series that revolves around people getting into machines and going into their genetic DNA and re-experiencing the lives of their ancestors on how they interacted with beings that were part of some civilization that's no longer around, that had this unfathomable technology and stuff called Pieces of Eden. And when we played a certain game like Odyssey, you got to be able to fight mythological creatures like Medusa and the Minotaur. But apparently, with Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's been a huge controversy about historical accuracy, to the point that somehow people got, I guess, some kind of elected. So however it works over in Japan, apparently they had somebody try to bring it up to the powers that be over in Japan that are responsible for what they consider is socially acceptable to be released to the masses. Now, just to explain that, we saw this same organization deny the release of Dead Space and deny the release of Callisto Protocol over in Japan. But when they tried to bring up Assassin's Creed Shadows and I guess these historical inaccuracies, they were like, it was like a never was for the subject. They completely were like, nope, not listening to it. And I guess this is just all over essentially one of the main characters of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Obviously we all know like how the controversy is over the male protagonist in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also they're like talking about how flags don't look right and some of the buildings look a little bit not historically accurate, when honestly Mickey said it best before we got in the show. Like, Mickey, what do they put at the beginning of every Assassin's Creed game?
That it's not historically accurate.
And it's not meant to represent.
And it's not meant to, yeah, exactly.
And that's where I'm just like completely shocked. Like, we're still going down this road. And at this point, I'm just like, holy cow, freaking, I mean, I'm looking forward to Assassin's Creed Shadows in November.
Yep.
I'm like,
God
that
dang
would
right.
be one of those ones where I'm like, yep, big boy package.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm just like, I'm like completely, I'm still taken back, like literally, like it was kind of like what we saw during the FTC case with Microsoft and the CMA shenanigans. Like literally, people were taking time out of their day to write letters to, like, this is where I laughed when people in the United States were writing letters to the UK CMA authority about whether they wanted Microsoft to have Activision Blizzard or whether they were against it. And we were all kind of like wondering, like, why would they take the word of somebody who does not even live in that country? And like, what is going on now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm just kind of like, I'm just like kind of like taken back, and you know,
It's ridiculous.
is.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's where I'm just like, I mean, guys, at this point, just it like Assassin's Creed Shadows looks like a great game. I'm very intrigued by the story that they're gonna try to tell with the main protagonist. That they took inspiration from other people in his, like they took inspiration from these characters in history, but they did not go set out to make like a historically accurate piece.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, Assassin's Creed is a work of Assassin's Creed at this point is borderline sci-fi. Like it's borderline.
Yeah. I could see that.
See, Ubisoft been screwing the pooch with Assassin's Creed and Star Wars Outlaws. See, that's the only thing, Faded Blaze. I'm actually looking forward to both games. I don't get too wrapped up in the politics because, like, dude, gaming has helped me through some serious crap in my life. And when I get a moment to dude, like, let's I'm not trying to bring up bullshit right now, but let's look at it like the world has gotten so bad that literally a few weeks ago, we all witnessed somebody try to shoot somebody live on television. Like, regardless of how you feel or what, like, is that really what it like? That's the toxicity that I seek to escape when I play video games, is because shit has gotten way too political. And at this point, when people either have a difference of opinion or something isn't the way they want to, like, take it to some crazy extreme. And to me, I'm just here to have fun because, like, Mickey knows the work environment I work in, and I know the work environment he works in. There's just too much dramatic bullshit that goes on in the world. And that's where I'm just like here to have fun playing some games. Like, in my opinion, you know, I look at the glass half full. See, like, for me, when Ubisoft could avoid by using a fictional character. See, here's the thing, like, Arnie, there's a little bit of conjecture and I guess some oh my god, holy shit, I sound stupid. Oh my god, Mickey, it's like there's some people that are debating whether the main protagonist in Ubisoft, it's like open to conjecture with certain professionals in the field that actually do world history, where it's like a discussion that can be held on, was this individual a samurai? Was he not a samurai? And it was just really a kind of like a different take on, like, it kind of comes down to, like, if you want to look at it from my point of view, because at one time I actually aspired to be a movie writer. And so hear me out on this, guys. The main male protagonist of Assassin's Creed Shadows is your vessel of being your vessel of experiencing this culture, experiencing this world. It wouldn't seem right if you had somebody as a Japanese character in a Japanese game asking questions of, oh, why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why is it like this? Why is it like that? Because if you're born in that culture, you understand that culture. We know that this individual came in from an outside world. He was a stranger to this world. And so it's not unusual for somebody in that situation. Like, look at Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. He didn't understand their culture. He didn't understand the way they lived their lives. So throughout the whole movie, he's explaining the things he learns and the things he experienced because he's learning about their culture as he's there. And this is going to be the same situation for the character in this game, is he's going to be experiencing their culture and learning about their culture from the female protagonist in the game. And that's where I'm just saying that to me, it's like an easier vessel in being able to take you on this ride of learning and experiencing the culture that this game is actually meant to represent. So Fated Blaze Massive is making Star Wars Outlaws, and they supposed to make Division 3 after. Hopefully they make Division 3. I love the Division series.
Oh, don't say that. Don't get me all excited.
Oh, Mickey, put your pants back on. Porky Soda. Yasuka is a hard D. I'm not going to say that word. Sorry. Every Assassin's Creed game before had at least respected the culture. Ezio was Italian. Connor was Native American in colonial times. This was shoehorned in. See, that's where I could not say yes or no to that without being in the minds of the developer and knowing the conversations that took place during pre-development. I could not say that. It could have been influenced, and one of them were like, hey, it would be great if we did. What if somebody knew about Yasuke and said they would love to make a game about them, and that's how it came to fruition? Or was it like you're insinuating, hey guys, we're wanting to make this game and we're looking for what you're saying, like an inserted character of that nature? And that's where it's kind of like I'm not in the minds of the developers. I'm not there in the boardroom meetings to understand what was asked of them. I'm just going to at least say that I can make a logical argument on why I feel that Yasuke is at least a good vessel for what they're trying to do. But was it a shoehorned insert? I could not accurately say. Fated Blaze, they already confirmed it last year. Division 3 is supposed to start production. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Where do you think they would? Do we want to still be in New York or Washington, D.C. or somewhere new?
That is a good question.
I want palm trees. Let's go L.A. Or I want palm trees in extreme heat. Let's go Phoenix.
That's what I was like, Arizona. Why not?
But that's where I'm excited for the Ubisoft games that are coming out. But that's just maybe because, like I said, I've had other people tell me because of some of the things I've been through in my life, I don't get up in arms over certain things because I have been through some shit that I would never wish on my worst enemy. And that is where I've just learned to kind of like not sweat stuff like this because what can I do? We all speak with our wallets. That's the only way you can really get through to these companies. So yeah, if you really feel the way you do, I can honestly say speak with your wallet. But that's where I just really do feel that like writing letters to government officials, that's like insanity to me. But hey, more power to you if that's what you want to do. Division 3, I want them to go international. So, okay, so we're talking like
That's
London,
fair.
London or something like that. That'd be interesting.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, so let's kind of cap this off though. One thing everybody probably like, the one subject, but I'm obviously not want to drag it down into a huge rabbit hole, but let's have some fun there on this conversation. Just checking my notes. There we go. Yep. Okay. So let's really start with the FTC. It's kind of funny. Xbox raised the price of Game Pass. And the FTC decided to like stick their head into the door frame and be like, "Oh, you're doing what?" And I knew it was going to happen. So the FTC decided to let's just start here. Let's just kind of read from the bullet points here. The Federal Trade Commission's lawsuit to block the merger ultimately failed. So earlier this month in July, the FTC took aim at Microsoft again with a filing in federal court that claimed the new Xbox Game Pass tier was a degraded product. So now Xbox is fired back. Now, when we say degraded product, that is because they got rid of the tier that was like the cheaper tier of Game Pass that gave you games day and date without the online subscription service part of it. They got rid of that, and now they have a base Game Pass product that comes with an online subscription, but no day and date games, unless you buy the ultimate package where you get Game Pass, day and date games, and the online subscription. So, Microsoft responded to the FTC with a court filing of its own that it was posted online. And the short version is that Microsoft acknowledges that the new Game Pass standard tier is more expensive than the discounted Game Pass console tier, but it offers multiplayer functionality that was previously sold separately. Additionally, the company argues that Game Pass Ultimate's price increase is justified because more new games will be available day and date on the service. And by the way, everybody, just so everybody knows, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was just put into Game Pass. And so we're starting to see Call of Duty games roll out in Game Pass. We've gotten Diablo 4. There's already talks of other back catalog library of games getting put in Game Pass. So that is definitely taking place. Getting back into it, essentially, Microsoft is claiming that the FTC is trying to reinvent its original case against the company's Activision Blizzard acquisition, and that it's wrong to call this a degraded version of the discounted Game Pass for console offering. This filing also notes that the FTC barely mentioned the subscription at trial and restates that Microsoft signed a 10-year deal with Sony to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation as part of the original conditions of the merger. And that's part of it. Like I know there's a certain sect of people out there that are like really foaming at the mouth to see Microsoft, have to divest Activision Blizzard out of their portfolio. And that's the funny part. Like, we all saw that the CMA put up a big stink over Call of Duty, but the CMA also were the ones that showed up that year to put on a proper freaking court battle, and they brought up Game Pass and subscription services. This is something that even the EU themselves touched on, and they felt that at least the EU felt that Microsoft's contractual obligations that they established with other services like Nintendo, Ubisoft, Boosteroid, these other subscription services, to be able to allow Call of Duty and other games to be put in their subscription services, but the main thing revolved around Call of Duty. That really appeased the EU. So then the CMA saw right through it, and they were trying to be like, oh, well, how do we know that they're going to honor these contracts and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, a liaison was established that answers to the CMA, that Microsoft has to show how their honoring their contractual obligations. They're not trying to monopolize the market by having, this juggernaut of a subscription service known as Game Pass with buying Activision Blizzard and stripping all these other places, all these games away from other providers. But when it came to the FTC, they literally showed up with the most bullshit argument of all time. And it really got pathetic. Like, I still bring it up every time. I still cannot believe that the stenographer, by the way, the stenographer is the person that sits at the courtroom and records all the stuff with the little fancy keyboard, recorded the statement from the FTC that the FTC literally came in and said, well, what if Microsoft hypothetically created an exclusive game mode for Xbox, or an exclusive skin, or some kind of exclusive DLC, or did something that was exclusive to Call of Duty to drive players to their console? And it was like, almost like you almost wanted to be in that courtroom to be like, what the fuck you think PlayStation's been doing? Like, did you not read anything before you got here? Did you get your court case out of a fortune cookie? Like, what is going on? Like, are you serious? Like, you just literally described everything PlayStation's been doing, and you were like, but what if Microsoft does it? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Wow. You guys reached today. And so, yeah, it was all about Call of Duty. And like, they really didn't, like, for whatever reason, the FTC, like Microsoft said, the FTC barely touched on Game Pass and subscription services. And Microsoft also called out the FTC in saying that, like, when they brought up that there would be no price hikes on Game Pass, like, that statement was even clarified that Microsoft meant there would be no price raises on Game Pass at that current moment. But we can't promise the future. Well, it wasn't like an indefinite, we'll never raise the price of Game Pass again. And that's where, like, even Porky Soda even touches on it. Sony raised prices on PlayStation Plus, added zero value, and not a peep from the, like, yeah, exactly. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think they even took some of the stuff away. And they were like, oh, you're not going to get as much as you did, and we're raising the price. And I love Arnie. Exactly. The FTC wants to waste more of our money. Dude, at this point, the FTC has a pickle jar of tax money, and these guys are just throwing handfuls of pickles at the wall, just seeing which ones fucking stick. And, and like, yeah. Oh my gosh. That, yeah, definitely, this whole situation with the FTC has me kind of like shaking my head, like, literally, dude, like, excuse the pun, but if Microsoft even farts wrong and the FTC doesn't like the smell of what Microsoft is cooking, I feel like at this point for the next few years, the minute Microsoft does anything, it's going to be like, oh, see, told you. And it's just like, really? Is this really what we're going to have? Like, it's just like, come on now. So, like, Mickey, come on, give me your 2 cents, man. I did a lot of coverage on the FTC ABK thing. Well, actually on the ABK deal, all in general, especially when it came to the CMA and the FTC and the EU. But I just really feel like at this point, the FTC is continuing to make themselves look like a horse's ass.
Well, this stuff I'm not very informative on, so I mean, this is definitely one of those subjects that's more you're more informative on it, but I just think that maybe they're just putting their nose too deep into Microsoft's behind. And, I mean, now that you guys have explained it and everything, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. And I think they're trying to pin the tail on Microsoft's donkey, you know what I mean? To just to keep trying to tag them, with bullshit because of the Activision deal. So I don't really have a whole lot to say aside from I think they need to kind of take a chill pill, but that's probably not going to happen. So, I mean, that's kind of all all I really can say on that subject. So,
No, I get it. It's just like, cause like, where can we go with this subject? I feel like, dude, I think they announced buying Activision Blizzard in 2021. Here we are, 2024, and we're still going through like a lot of like red tape and motions on like this whole situation that like I think it's so funny that we're so hyperbolically focused on what Microsoft is doing with Activision Blizzard, this, that, and the other, that apparently, like the concept of a subscription service raising its prices is completely alien until Microsoft does it, when all the subscription services, no matter who you are, Hulu, Netflix, like we could go on all day. All these subscription services have raised their prices. We're now to the point where a lot of streaming services have now created different tiers where you have ads and where you don't have ads. So they've even learned how to get people to start spending more money on these subscription services to get rid of ads, when honestly, ad-free watching was what attracted people to streaming services in the beginning. Now all of a sudden you got to pay to get rid of ads.
That's true.
And that's where it's like, so that's where I feel like, like for the FTC to try to rip them back in court and be like, look, they raised the price on their subscription service. Okay. Who hasn't? Like, I'm just like, I mean, like, it would be like one of those arguments again, like, okay, who hasn't? But like,
right.
And that where it comes down to, like, what more can we say on this than I told everybody that the FTC was going to be the biggest pain in the ass for Microsoft when it came to this deal. I thought for a second that the CMA was going to clutch that crown and be like, no, we're going to be the biggest pain in the ass. And they came close. They came real close to clutching that crown and taking it. But then here we are. And the FTC, once again, we're talking like, I think it's been now a year since they got basically like the smackdown on their court battle. And now here we are a year later and they're trying to be like, oh, told you so. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Porky, so Arnie, Lena Khan's term ends September 25th this year. So hopefully the FTC stops this crap after she leaves. Dude, I can only freaking hope so, because Arnie, I exist in the manufacturing industry, and I would love if like the FTC would stop worrying about what the hell is going on the internet and the digital marketplaces and started worrying a little bit more about how, at least in my industry, I can name a company off the top of my head that's like bought like 80% of all the manufacturing for my industry. And like literally they have raised prices. And when I say raised prices, they've gone like price gouging stupid. I actually had one of the representatives from their company sitting in my office today, and we probably had like a half hour, 45-minute meeting about how some things are going down that I just do not agree with. And they need to like stop with the BS. And the funny part is even the rep for their company admitted that they've kind of like really like in his terms, he said really screwed the pooch. So there's a lot of things going on while Lena Khan is worried about Amazon, Meta, Epic Games, Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard. It's like she's focused on everything that's going on in the digital marketplace environment, and they have lost all touch with what's going on in the physical manufacturing industry, at least here in the United States. And I just really wish that they would see some of the other stuff that's going on, because like we saw companies during the pandemic raise the prices on freaking cereal, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we got to make sure that that Call of Duty has access everywhere. You're right. That's more important. Porky Soda, I do think Xbox should just make online multiplayer free already. Game Pass should cover the service maintenance costs already. You know, I'm probably one of those that would probably agree with you, but see, at least you're admitting that there should be there has to be a way to pay for server maintenance, because at this point server maintenance is very costly, and also especially when you got to like update the servers, expand the servers, all that fun stuff. At least you understand that, you know, servers don't run on hopes and dreams. You know, there is this thing called money. There is people that they got to keep on the payroll to make sure these servers are working. I just really wish that, at least for me, the only reason why I say it is that I want to see parity between the console consumers and the PC consumers, because it does feel like the PC consumer with free, like they get online multiplayer services free of charge, versus on console it's not. But I also understand that on PC it's like the Wild West, and you can have a lot of people cheating, versus on console it's a little bit more difficult to have cheaters on console. It's not, I know it's still possible, but it's not as possible as what takes place on PC.
Right. That's true. PC's
So,
pretty bad.
oh, dude. I laughed when I heard somebody like ragging on how like even people were cheating on Fall Guys. Like, you're so desperate to win that you're
crazy.
You're cheating on like you're running PC. He was like, I look up and there's people running above the map in Fall Guys. Basically, they've made it to where their character is hovering across the game, the racing game. I was just like, wow, we're that desperate for a win that we're gonna cheat at Fall Guys. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, that's crazy. Fall Guys.
I know, right? But all right, I guess we'll leave it at that. You know, we've got games that deserve a second chance. You know, that's why I always tell people, play what you want, where you want, wherever, whatever you want. Because I mean, me and Mickey still play Battlefront 2 very heavily, the 2017 Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's a game out there that you love, just play it and don't give a shit what anybody else says. Check out some of the new games that came out. We got Flintlock in Game Pass. We got Nobody Wants to Die. It's like a $25 game. We also, you know, keep your eyes peeled for the game in September for Throne and Liberty. Got that one right.
Yeah.
And then finally, just, you know, the whole shenanigans with the FTC. Just at this point, I just feel that we need to move on from FTC. Like, they've even already said that to try to divest Activision Blizzard out of Microsoft would be more difficult now. And so therefore, at this point, everybody just needs to let it go. Activision Blizzard is part of Microsoft. It is what it is. They've got a lot of red tape and ass kissing that they got to do with all the government agencies that became involved in this whole debacle. And so that's why it hasn't been as cut and dry, and you're just slowly seeing these games drip feeded out and things that are just happening with the service of Game Pass altogether. But at this point, it's just like, enjoy what gaming has to offer and play what you love, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yep.
So say goodbye,
That's
Mickey.
the truth. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we really appreciate it. We enjoy having you around, and you guys have a wonderful night. And like you said, play what you want and have fun.
Right. Real quick, everybody, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I am here trying to grow the channel, but I am not sub-begging whatsoever. I just appreciate every single one of you coming in every single night and chatting with us and joining the chat. Always feel free on if you're listening on the replay, to even add your comments down in the comments section. Also, thank you to Porky Soda, Arnie, Bones 32 actually came in and even kind of like threw in a comment last minute saying every streaming service has raised their prices. Exactly, we touched on that. Thank you, Arnie, for the great show, and you take care of yourself. But yeah, also thank you to Blue, Faded Blaze, Yobi, Peanut Brooks. Dude, there's so many people that stopped in tonight. I just really appreciate every single one of you. Van Kochik, thank you everybody for tuning in and checking us out and enjoying the conversation. Remember here to be here every Wednesday night and join our conversation. Remember, we don't give everybody a microphone, but we all got keyboards and we all acknowledge your existence on the chat. So thank you everybody once again, and we will see you next Wednesday. I got here, Jim Beasy. Oh, you got here late. Got here too late. Sorry, it's all right. I know we also run a late show, but definitely, yeah, we'll see you next time, bud. Thank you for stopping in though and saying hi. Good night, everybody.
Good night.